unfolds the binder of doom, his 3-ring war book.
Oh, but real quick, we since we were already on it, homegirl that denied.
Editor, I'll get you the video. Go ahead and throw up the video of the Honorable Paulette Woods slamming her glass of wine, then flipping off the school board and saying, "Shut the f up, bitch," repeatedly.
Who is she again? She's part of the school board?
She then goes on to say that never happened and I'm going to sue whoever says I did it. And then the video comes out and she's like, "I'm sorry," on a podium. This is also, I can get you the video for this too. She's at the podium and she like does her apology. Then she has her bishop come up, or like her priest or pastor or religious leader, whatever.
Man.
He comes up and starts screaming at the audience and is like, "She apologized and you guys need to accept this. This is nothing more," this is their quote, "this is nothing more than the high-tech lynching."
It is unacceptable that after giving an apology to our colleagues and constituents, that you choose to do a public high-tech lynching of a black woman.
Which is a wild fucking thing to say.
That is, bro, because like I would be giving this lady the same business that I'm giving her right now, that everyone's giving her if she was white. That don't matter, man. People ain't looking at your color, girl. They're looking at your position and how you're behaving within that position, and it's unacceptable. So like, nah, man, like you'd be under the same scrutiny. I mean, dude, ask anyone today. They still hate fucking Casey Anthony. What are we talking about? Of course, man, stop.
Yeah.
As somebody that's read a ton of historical accounts of black war heroes who fought in World War II that literally had their fathers or uncles or brothers go through something like that, and then for you to equate that, just the unjustified, lawless killing of somebody for the color of their skin, to people being upset that you were in a school board meeting saying, "Shut the f up, bitch," is flipping off the camera while drinking, is fucking disgusting. And that alone should disqualify you from overseeing the education of children.
What does she do?
Because you're so wrapped up in color and race that how can your brain process anything else that requires attention to detail or a nuanced look at it? You know what I mean? Like you're compromised. Your brain is compromised, at least for the position that you hold or the responsibilities that your position requires of you. You're compromised. If this is what, like, bro, what you should get up there and say is the equivalent to what like a lawyer would say. Like, my client is this, this, and this. My client feels this, this, and this way. And any further questions you have, you can direct them to me or my office. Instead, you get up there and you play a bigger victim than the actual person that you're defending. Oh no.
So it's been like what, 3 weeks, I think? 3 full weeks. We're going into the 4th. So it started off with our initial buzz, and then I went in right away to do an interview with Channel 7. They did.
I saw the thumbnail for that last night in yesterday's Twitch stream. I didn't click on it because we were doing music.
They did a 27-minute long interview, and they only put up like 3 to 4 minutes
of course
of its entirety. That was it. The news attacked me for about 3 or 4 days.
Now, High has made headlines numerous times in the past. The Attorney General's office had found High had been, quote, repeatedly discourteous and unprofessional.
This is ridiculous.
What is this?
This is crazy. I'm listening to all these guys burp and just be absolutely foul.
You're looking at like the White Claws on the table.
And
is
so
alcohol involved here?
My
Where
first
are they?
thought is, okay, this can't actually be real.
I don't think.
And you can't actually be a man. There's no way. Like, oh my God, look at all these ex-military and ex-police officers giving their opinions. I can't believe it. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. It's just so foul. And you should only listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, because I am just so much better of a human being, and I just sit up here on the echelon of morals and shit, and disgusting. Jesus Christ. What a fairy. Both of you. Yikes.
There's ever been another case that has come out like this? It's so 2025, right? It comes out on the podcast and
bizarre.
And then
bizarre that these guys are uncovering corrupt motherfuckers in the Buffalo school system, and it's just bizarre. I can't believe it. I can't believe that they're just doing this and they burp and they're just so foul, and they just ugh. That's the media, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Pearl clutching when you don't need to pearl clutch, and pearl clutching at a topic that makes you look suspect. They're trying to protect children, and y'all are like, these guys are so terrible. They're trying to protect children. They're so terrible. Y'all are so fucking garbage, bro. People actually take y'all seriously. That's the funniest part. I feel bad for y'all because y'all got fucking empty ass fucking noggins.
Autistic army decided to show them they might want to reconsider coming after somebody that might be looking out for the welfare of children in the city of Buffalo, especially when we have a binder worth of information that we got just from OSINT, just from open source intelligence gathering.
Just wait until those FOIA requests start coming back.
Oh, yes. So
I hope they don't so I can sue them, actually.
it'll be great. So Nick starts doing the FOIA.
Yo, Fat Electrician is like very angry and petty at the moment, and it's great.
So after the first week of like this onslaught of bullshit on coming towards me and me bearing the brunt of it, and then our army pushing back and saying, wait a second, why are you doing this? We should be looking into this. You shouldn't be shooting the messenger, even though he has a fantastic mug, which you can now get at Bunker Branding. Channel 2 special investigative reporter actually did a little bit of a deep dive and discovered that since 2021, there have been over 17,000 police calls to the city of Buffalo.
17,772.
To be exact. And about
To the school? Or to like the school system?
54% of them fall under miscellaneous or information only, which is fine. If you get like a school board or like, I don't know, like a school door was left open and it sounded the alarm and you're like, all right, miscellaneous or alarm. It actually would go under an alarm call. Well, I stated originally that the schools were using these miscellaneous calls in order to cover up incidents of abuse on the children from either child on child or a child coming in and making a disclosure to the schools. Well, what do you know? Out of the past 4 major incidents that have gotten tons of news coverage from the city of Buffalo public school system, one of them being a stabbing or a shooting at McKinley, one of them I think was a stabbing. There was an overdose incident and something else.
The teacher,
and the kidnapping.
The teacher gave the kids THC gummies and the kidnapping, alleged kidnapping that he's now getting charged for. Those were all school other.
The crazy one was the one with the teacher that warned them about that door. They're like, hey, students are taking knives through this door.
The stabbing in Riverside.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's not a problem. Student gets fucking stabbed from a knife that was snuck in through that door, and then they denied it.
Oh, I have the footage, yeah. So in the footage, the teacher actually wrote up a thing, and he's the...
I don't even understand. Like, I've never seen people so afraid to, like, fix a problem or to just, like, simply do the right thing. It's like they're allergic. That was so simple of a fix. The door, bro. The door. You fix the door. You don't have to fix anything else. You don't even have to tell parents what you did. You don't even have to tell the news, anyone, what you did. You just fix the door and file it under maintenance. Like, what? I don't understand. Like, the purposeful incompetence. You gotta be doing this shit on fucking purpose, bro, because there's no way you're this fucking stupid. I refuse to believe. Y'all are grown-ass adults. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, man. There's no way. You gotta be doing this on purpose. Man, y'all are either this fucking stupid or y'all are such cowards, man. And someone has something on you, I guess. I don't know.
I looked into him. He's the union rep for that school. Okay, so he wrote up a thing like, hey, I've had students bring in large knives into the school. They get them through school security because these schools have metal detectors or some screening process. They're getting them in through this door that's not locked and has a bad door. And he wrote every school board member and sent it to him repeatedly for, I believe it was like 19 months. That he kept pushing it.
God.
Was the reply, you bitch?
He apparently in their process, you have to push it up the chain of command, and there's 3 levels to get something approved. The first level was denied, and that's just like your direct administrator. He denied it. It's like, no, it's not a problem. He appealed it and pushed it up to the school board, and the school board denied it. Then he was still pushing to have it reviewed a 3rd time, and then it's on the superintendent. Between the 2nd and 3rd time, the stabbing at Riverside happened. That he was trying to get the issue fixed before it became a potentially fatal issue. And then they magically approved it on the third iteration after somebody had to get stabbed.
Which is what he.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. That's how it happens. Coincidentally, it was approved. How much are y'all willing to bet that had no child been stabbed yet, they would have still been in the active process of denying this shit?
He complains about, he says, this is reactionary. Why are we reactionary?
Well, he calls it, because that recording was before the stabbing, or right after. And he goes, you guys had to wait until somebody got stabbed, just like I predicted. And sure enough, somebody got stabbed. Now you're going to approve it.
Yep.
And then the school board member has the balls to stand up there and be like, you never told us about this.
Oh, starts getting in a screaming match with him.
Yeah.
Fuck
and like all the other
you.
teachers give him a standing ovation as he's walking away. So I'll get the editor of the video. You can go ahead and play it. It's like 2 or 3 minutes. It's crazy.
I just want to be clear that all the time we spend here in this fantasy land world, when students at Riverside are getting stabbed, there's fights there every single day. 911 is called on a regular basis, and no one has even come into the school and had a meeting like this and talked to parents and talked to teachers and talked to our students and said, how can we protect? Excuse me, this is my time. This is my time,
You're
sir.
going to receive more time, but
this is my time, sir.
If you would have came to me and told me a situation about a knife, at that point, I would have called the authorities and took the proper action with the supervisor.
Know what you asked me? I can refresh your memory if you want to know.
Mr. Hurd, the speaker has the floor.
I told you about the knife.
Bro, I don't see how you can be so ignorant as to stand there, or sit there, mind you, and argue with this man when there is paperwork documenting exactly what he's saying. He's not pulling this out of his butthole.
The speaker has the floor.
Thank you. I filed a grievance 19 months ago, and it was very detailed. In that grievance, I talked about how a student brought a knife to the side door. It's written in the grievance, which I sent to you all. Guess what? The student who, the non-student who stabbed the student in our school, guess what door they came in? That same door. And they were in the building that day, and no one even told us. The DA had to tell us on the news. We had to do our own investigation. So there's a student with most likely a weapon in our building, and no one's sharing that with us. I'm gonna say this. This district has done nothing, and I told you, what's it gonna take? Someone getting stabbed or shot to have someone come in the building? And that's exactly what it takes, because no one has lifted a finger for security at Riverside High School. It's a dog and pony show every single time. You send in people for a week, it disappears, and then it's a disaster again. These kids and these teachers deserve better. And if you can't do the job, then all of you should have the dignity to resign and let someone else do it.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno.
So we go to that where Channel 2, the
Damn.
investigative reporter, pulls out the stats and says, hey, wait a second. Look at these numbers. These are concerning. These 4 major cases were all intentionally mislabeled as something other than what they actually were, whether it be stabbing, shooting, overdose, etc.
The stabbing at Riverside, I believe, from what I can tell, there's been independent third-party investigations launched for the Riverside stabbing and for the shooting at McKinley in 2022. Neither of those independent third-party investigations launched by the school board have been released to the public or the Buffalo PD or the legal system.
Who's the
at all.
third party in these situations?
Whoever they pick.
Yeah.
Right
that's
now
what
it's
I'm saying.
open. Any law firm can get on their website right now and apply to be the third party investigator. And I believe with the Riverside stabbing, I looked into it, and the law firm that they did then cited, assumingly they found results that they didn't like. So the law firm's like, well, this is actually attorney-client privilege, so we don't have to give this to you.
Is that their workaround so they can just do it
Yeah, so
that
this is a
way?
workaround. They're gonna say, oh, we're gonna do a third-party independent investigation, and then once we have the results, if we don't like them, we're gonna claim it's attorney-client privilege and never mention it to the public, and the public's gonna forget about it by then.
This doesn't require an investigation. It's just fact.
Yeah.
Is the crazy part. What are you going to look into? It's going to take you a fucking afternoon if you're not clinically retarded.
Right. Yeah. And they had a 4.5-hour meeting the other day trying to appoint a special investigator. 4.5 hours, couldn't figure out who they were even going to have do the investigation.
Because it's not that they can't figure out who they're gonna have do the investigation. They're trying to find someone crooked to do the investigation. That's what I feel. 4 hours, man.
By the way, from somebody inside the schools, quote, BPS General Counsel Nate Kuzma who works at the same firm as the former DA who opened his mouth, who's full of shit, has made an attorney-client privilege so that it could never be shared intentionally. That was the end result of that one.
So that's one thing to look out for or really stress moving forward is.
That is true. If the school is unsafe, the parents will take their kids out of the school and they lose money anyways.
Not letting that happen as they hire a new one.
Yeah, they'll have somebody investigate
They're
it.
intentionally not going to hire a new one. I can't prove it. I can't prove it with evidence, but I have multiple people that have all basically said, well, the superintendent's retiring in June and she has 3 or 4 friends on the school board and they're basically going to stall this until she gets her good retirement and then they'll let it go to an investigation. So they're just trying to drag this out as long as possible to protect their buddy. Then they're going to drag it out as long as possible.
Who's the superintendent?
Oh,
The hyphen
Dr.
woman.
something Knight.
The one that's really upset that she had to shut down her social media and ignore everybody coming to her with concerns.
And who's going to be next appointed? Because you knew who's next in line,
so the
which
next
that's
guy
something.
getting.
Honestly, I feel like this is one of those things and it's so bad already and it's to the point like, dude, who is over the superintendent? Everyone has a boss, bro. Everybody. It doesn't matter what facet of life, everyone has a boss in some way, form, or fashion. Who sits above the superintendent? I think you just need to fire everybody and refill these positions. From what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing, and from what I've seen in the past, this just seems like something that if you don't go scorched earth on this right now, it will never end. That shit is too rotten from within. Really. And that might suck for the people that do work on the school board that are just trying to keep their head down, stay out of fucking trouble, and try their best to do the right thing. Man, no, you gotta go too, bro, because, like, I would be fucking screaming. But none of these fucking people, and this isn't the first time either, this isn't the first school board that we've seen that has a whole bunch of cowards basically paralyzed in their chairs, refusing to do anything, sign anything, make any kind of progress. It's not that, so, like, you have to change it.
One thing the news did that was really shitty is they took the one snippet where you were talking about allegedly one teacher in particular was putting kids inside of a bathroom with the lights off.
Yes.
One teacher is what we said.
Correct.
The news then portrayed it to the teachers union president, Richard Nigro, that we were saying this about all teachers.
Which we're not.
And he was upset. Obviously, like, that's fair if you think that we're saying all Buffalo teachers are throwing small children in a cage, which we're not saying at all.
We were
And
specific
he's like,
on that.
you're painting everybody with a broad brush. Right, but they're just clipping couple second segments out and portraying it.
Podcast called Black Rifle Coffee Podcast, High described how some teachers and teacher aides use school bathrooms for so-called timeout rooms.
The Buffalo Public School will put children in the bathroom and turn off the lights and then put their foot against the door so the kid can't get out. Where's the timeout room? Oh, it's the bathroom. Timeout room is the bathroom? Yeah. What do you do in the timeout room? Well, my teacher and the teacher's aide, the Buffalo Public School, will put children in the bathroom and turn off the lights.
Wow, so, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, exactly.
Geez, the news doing that.
It's a smart move on their part because right now, all the information I get, I have hundreds of teachers that I've talked to and interviewed and everything. And they're the ones that are giving me all the information, telling me what FOIA requests to fill out. Like, they're the ones that are helping. By and large, all of these teachers are great people trying to do what's best for these kids. And they all feel that their hands are being tied behind their back. They're not allowed to do what needs to be done to keep these kids and themselves safe. And the
Oh, so damn, those teachers kind of know exactly how I felt when I was deployed. That's crazy. Welcome to the club, man.
Administration is intentionally doing it. I mean, you're 2 decades into your career at this point, and you've never been written up in 20 years.
Never. All of a sudden, instantly. Getting called down to the administrator's office. And the odd thing about this whole...
So this is crazy. We're interviewing teachers in this. Oh my Lord. That's dog.
These write-ups, they weren't anything. They had no backing. It was just to intimidate me. I mean, it just got crazy. I mean, I just pulled it up before I got on with you, and I have this document. It's like every other day we were getting called down. And I got to the point where I was, my phone would ring.
Did I say that right? I hope I did. What's going on, man?
In my classroom, and I would get sick and I would puke. Because I would literally go to the bathroom and puke because I was being tormented every day and supposed to teach kids at the same time. And it makes you physically ill because I'm not used to treating people this way, ever. And I'll tell you what, it started then, and up until a month and a half ago, it has not stopped. They have not stopped retaliating against me, and it's almost gotten worse.
So what they're doing is they're coming out and making it seem like, oh, we just want to burn everything to the ground and go after these teachers. We don't. Like, the teachers are great. It's just not even all of the administration.
It's leadership. It's some forms of leadership. That's what it is here. Some
members in the administration and the culture that they've created are not safe, and it doesn't allow these teachers to do their jobs. The scariest part to me is every single, with the exception of like one or two, and the one or two that I've talked to, the only reason they're not terrified of losing their job is because the school board has already gone after them repeatedly and tried to fire them and lost in court.
Correct.
Nice.
The gentleman that we've already showed the clip of at that school board meeting, that was a union rep, I forget what instance it was, but he got into it with the Buffalo School Board over some safety stuff, and they put him on paid leave for 2 years while they tried to fire him.
What the fuck? Including other people.
Including... with the Buffalo School Board over some safety stuff, and they put him on paid leave for 2 years while they tried to fire him.
What? Oh my God, dog. He brought up some safety issues, and instead of just using money to pay for the safety fixes, you instead put him on leave for 2 years? Paid leave for 2 years? He doesn't work for 2 years and still gets paid. You could have used that money to fix the fucking safety problem to begin with. The way y'all operate is so ass backwards. It just doesn't even make sense. And I would really like to know exactly how you're benefiting. It says like they've created a culture that makes it to where the teachers can't do their jobs, but what do you benefit from having this culture? How much more do you benefit monetarily and socially? Because I'm assuming there is like a social hierarchy structure within schools. Rarely did I ever see the principal eat with the fucking English teacher, right, at lunch. But what do you get out of this? What do you get out of being such a pain in the ass and doing such counterintuitive things that negatively impacts the teachers as well as the students? What exactly are you gaining, and how much of it are you gaining? Because like I just want to know. I just want to know so I can just like put myself in your shoes, like
including other people,
including because he was the head of the social studies department. So not only did they put him on paid leave, they put the entire social studies department, which I believe was 5 teachers in total, on paid leave for a year and tried to fire all of them. And by sheer coincidence, the other 2 social studies teachers of the 5 that they put on paid leave were the other 2 union reps for that school.
Almost like they're trying to union bust, which is
illegal.
Oh!
What the
And then they ended up losing in court, saying the teacher did absolutely nothing wrong. And the Buffalo School Board's people testifying on their behalf were found inadmissible in court, presumably because...
I just find it crazy that the motherfuckers that are being so negligent are just suing willy-nilly.
Because they got caught lying under oath.
About what?
I don't know exactly what.
It doesn't matter what you get caught lying under oath on. You lied under oath. What you lied about don't matter. The penalty for perjury is the same no matter what you're lying about. So you could either lie about a traffic ticket or a traffic stop, or whether or not you actually saw the red light. You could lie about that and perjure yourself. Or you can lie about murder and perjury still carries the same penalty. I think. At least that's how it goes in my head. Perjury is perjury no matter what. There is no like, oh, she just lied about something small, it's fine. No. Perjury is perjury.
Just like I have the court documents and you can see that like their testimony was deemed no good.
And nothing happened because of that?
He ended up getting to keep his job.
No, but
How
I mean, like,
do you perjure yourself and you don't?
lying under oath, there was no repercussions.
Why would there be?
It seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. If there is a mass layoff or they try
What the fuck I said? I guess the laws don't matter here. I guess there's no such thing.
that, understand why it's happening. It is the big cogs right now that are the issue. It's a lot of the times what happens is the big cogs at the top. You can't do anything, so they're just like, oh, replace these ones until we find team players, and then rinse repeat until you do find team players. But
That's what I said. That's why I was like, that's why it took them 4 hours to find their own special investigator, because they probably had to try to find a special investigator that didn't have any kind of guilty conscience or didn't have morals. They had to find someone. Basically, remember that movie? Remember the movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey? She's like, all you have to do is say this, this, and this. And the black attorney, he's like, I will not lie for you, Miranda. I will not perjure myself. And she says, well, looks like we're going to have to find someone who will. Boom. Enter Fletcher Reed, who just so happens to be in the hilarious predicament that he can't lie either. They want to replace people with people that are just as corrupt, negligent, and, well, in this case, retarded as they are, so that they can keep this moronic culture that they've cultivated, that I don't know who it benefits except for them.
At Channel 7.
That's usually
That's
how
why
it
I'm not to
goes.
apologize. I do not get that mindset. It's like, I wonder if I just came out and was like, hey, sorry, I messed up, how that might react. Or
Even
the
if he was just like,
audience.
hey, clarify, just to
messed
clarify,
up.
I think, like, you know, these are very important allegations. I didn't mean to downplay it, whatever. Like, just take a little bit of accountability.
Yeah. My intent wasn't this. You don't even have to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My intent was to talk about the thing, and I hit on this thing first. I could have saved that.
Yeah, but that lady has a gigantic ego, and she's in a position of power, and she was drunk. Not only literally drunk on power, but literally drunk on alcohol in the moment. And her thought process was, how dare you question me? How dare you accuse me? How dare you say those things in my direction? Do you not know who I am? That was her sentiment. I guarantee that's what she was thinking in her head, which is why she behaved exactly in that manner. Very, very defensive and violent and fucking...
I'm conflicted because this news channel's been the least courteous to Rich, but they've also got the best journalist working for them. So it's kind of one of those cases where, like, Nate Benson works for Channel 2 WGRZ, but everybody else that writes on it that isn't Nate Benson shits on Rich to the point that it's now defamatory, and I can prove it. Okay, so in multiple articles, including YouTube videos that they put up, which I have saved, and news broadcasts that they've aired, which I have saved, and news articles that
he TiVo'd all your shit for proof.
they've printed, they've all claimed that Detective Richard High is on the Brady list.
Yeah.
You know what the Brady list
Which is incorrect.
Yeah.
Guess what I have?
Well, would you like to explain what the Brady list is?
The Brady list means that you're on like the no-fly list when it comes to the district attorneys for when you go and take the stand to testify. It specifically states that you have credibility issues, which I know I've never lied on the stand, and all of my internal affairs or complaints never has to do with my evidence.
But I think the reason they're saying that is just because of your other YouTube videos, like the angry drill sergeant rants and stuff like that. They're probably just saying that and just assuming that because of the rest of the stuff in your YouTube catalog. I didn't even think they said that in regards to your actual credibility. They just looked at your YouTube videos and they were like, nah, unprofessional. Probably. It's the fucking media. They don't really do any due diligence. I be telling people this all the time. When it comes to the media, it's not about all these media outlets, man. Think of anyone, any media outlet. It applies to them. Even your favorite one, even the ones that you hate. It's not about getting out correct information. It's about getting out information first. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a lie. It doesn't matter if it's the truth. It doesn't matter if it's bullshit. It doesn't matter if it's half bullshit. It doesn't matter if there's even a grain of truth or a grain of lies in there. They're going to print it immediately because in the day and age of social media and clicks and all these clicks equal to actual money and ad revenue and shit, It's about who gets the information out there first. Whoever can get their title and their YouTube video and their just video period out onto the airwaves first, that's who wins, man. And in the world of media, winning is money. Who gets the most money? Who gets the most ad revenue? Who gets the most airtime? Who had the most engagement, right? With the news that they're watching. It's no longer about integrity or fact or truth or any of that stuff. And to be completely honest, man, I don't think it ever was, man, because I've seen interviews from like the 40s where the goddamn interviewer is still just as retarded as interviewers are today. So I don't know when media was ever good. I don't even know if anybody can point me to a time when media was ever good. Oh my God, the amount of stupid fucking interviewers I saw interview Muhammad Ali. I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, bro, I don't know what people are talking about when they say back in the day. What do you mean by back in the day when the media was good? Because they were shit here. They're shit now. They're shit today. They'll be shit tomorrow. When were they good? What, back when we just had newspaper? Like 120 fucking years ago? Maybe that's what people are talking about when they say back in the day. Well, here's the thing. I didn't grow up in those fucking days. I didn't even see those days. Those days are nothing but history to me, and they're in books. And since I've been born, the media has been shit. Anyway, sorry. I ranted.
Collection, my time on the stand, my integrity, or lying about any sort of charges that I've put on. So I have zero credibility issues on the stand. That is my history. Yeah. But them saying that I'm on the Brady list would say that I do have credibility issues and that I cannot testify because of those issues.
It's a pretty big allegation.
I would say it's significant and would look very poorly in my career.
Yeah.
Because a detective not being able to testify is significant.
That would be
very
crazy.
damaging.
And then we put it right here, right? We can show the clips of them saying that right here.
Yeah, I have them.
The allegations made on the Unsubscribed podcast by Buffalo Police Detective Richard High have prompted the Buffalo School Board to seek an outside investigator. Officer High alleges the district
because Officer High is on your ass. That's why you want that other investigator. Trash can.
Failed to report an attempted abduction, sexual assault, child abuse, and destroyed evidence, which he discovered while working a case. Allegations that have outweighed High's status on the Brady list, which is a list of law enforcement officers whom the Erie County District Attorney's Office have found to have credibility issues.
So Channel 2 is the only one that even after it came out, they're like, oh, he's actually onto something. When all the other news channels just start.
Oh, and here's the thing about if you try to go after a news publication for defamation or for slander, is even if you win, it's still not going to have the outcome that you want, because even if you win this against them, you know what they're going to do? They're just going to, they're going to print it in really, really, really small writing at the bottom of the screen. Y'all ever seen Sports Center, right? Where like all of the scores and like the times of the games, they're on the bottom of the screen and they're scrolling, right? That's where they'll do it. They will not have an actual anchor come on screen and be like, we would actually like to apologize and issue a retraction. They're not actually going to say that, bro. They're going to put it in the smallest writing imaginable on the bottom of the screen. They'll flash it for a brief couple of seconds, and that is it. They don't like admitting to being wrong, even though they're wrong all the goddamn time. They don't like admitting to being wrong, and they don't want other people to see that they were wrong, because if they have to print a retraction, that destroys their credibility. Man, I think the only publication that I've seen that actually cared a lot about retractions was the Daily Bugle. J. Jonah Jameson. Retraction. This publication hasn't printed a retraction in 20 years. But guess what? Even he did it. He swallowed his fucking pride about Spider-Man and printed that goddamn retraction. It was newspaper back then, but still, front page. Sorry, Spidey. They ain't gonna do that though, man. They never do. And when it comes to them saying bullshit on the news and people call them out, they don't have to worry about it. Why? Because 2 minutes later, they're gonna have a brand new story. 20 minutes later, they're gonna have a brand new story. A day later, they're going to have 2,700 news stories. And guess what? People are going to forget all about the bullshit. They're going to forget about the lie. They're going to forget because they're being supplemented with more lies. They prey on people with goldfish memories, but you fucking with the wrong one with Fat Electrician.
started referring to him as SVU veteran detective Richard High, they would still put in the article, these allegations appear to outweigh his placing on the Brady list. Like just mad they have to admit that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, I have the Brady list. Guess who's not fucking on it? Richard High.
Yeah.
So claiming...
I could have guessed that, because guess what, dude? It was said by the media. I can't... That's why I don't watch these fuckers. Do you want... I don't watch a lot of these people because, like, you know what happens whenever I watch them? I find myself having to go to my phone or go to my tablet or go to my computer just to see if it's even true. Instead of just, I don't know, having faith and relying on motherfuckers to give you truthful information. I can't. My brain won't let me. So if I'm having to go through extra steps, I might as well just go find the news my fucking self somewhere else.
That somebody is so uncredible that they can't even testify in court under oath is a pretty big allegation, right?
Yeah.
The problem with defamation is if I was going to sue you for it, I would have to prove that it wasn't a genuine mistake and that you did it maliciously, right? So how would I be able to prove that?
Well,
that they
like
were
a history would probably be able.
Oh, like an ongoing history? Cool. What if I trained an advanced AI to go through their entire website and catalog the top 10 officers in the history of the news source that they've written articles about? And Rich is the third most reported on cop in Buffalo history out of 800 police officers, and not a single article is even remotely charitable to Rich.
Some of them don't even have to do with me, but they bring me into the article to then defame me.
Anytime they get a chance to throw him under the bus, they do it. Okay, so
the guy that's trying to protect kids. Let's fuck with this guy. Let's make him look bad to everybody. You see why no one likes you motherfuckers? Do you understand now why Donald Trump treats you motherfuckers the way he treats you? Fake news. I know you're fake news. Fuck out of my face. Fired. That's why, man. That's why. And that's why other motherfuckers have adopted that same mentality. Fake news, fuck you, bye. I'll go somewhere else. I'd rather get my news from a goddamn Labrador than get my news from you. Fake. Bullshit. Because, I mean, dog, the proof is there. It's always there. Some people are too busy to find the bullshit. Some people are just too busy to realize that they've been lied to, right? Like, they get home from work, they got the kids, their wife is asking them to cut the grass, cook dinner. They look at the TV. Oh, okay, cool. That person's racist. Nice. Got it. Cool. I gotta go cut the grass. When in reality, that was bullshit. That was a fucking lie. But now it's in their head. They're cutting the grass. Oh, man, I can't believe that guy's racist. That's wild, right? And it's just like, they don't have time to go and investigate your bullshit. They got lives to live. And it's just like, that's where we come in.
I can prove that he's the third most reported on cop in Buffalo's history out of 800 cops, which to me says that you've got a wild hair up your ass and you're gunning for him. Okay, so I'm able to
they have a hate boner for him.
Prove that you would lie on purpose because you don't like him, right? But then what's even harder is I then have to go out and I have to prove that he's not on the Brady list, which he isn't. And then what was the other facet? I have to prove that
it wasn't a mistake.
It wasn't a mistake, which
and that it was with malicious intent. Which, how many articles again? Upwards of 400? No, what, 800 articles about how terrible of a human being Angry Cops is? Yeah, I believe I feel like that would make it, whatever it is, if it is defamation, I feel like that's aggravated. Aggravated. How many times are you going to defame this guy? How many times are you going to slander this fucking dude? I thoroughly am so...
Again.
I have it all saved.
Okay.
We have the Wayback Machine, fuckhead.
It makes me so happy to know that there's probably someone from a media station right now who is garbage at their job and also a fucking fairy that's gonna watch this and hear Brandon Herrera say, "We have the Wayback Machine, fuckhead." I know these guys are trying to help children, but look at him. He doesn't even have a tie on. He hasn't gotten a haircut in 5 years. He doesn't even shave. Because you know the people in the media, bro. Suits, ties, clean shaven, all them look like fuck-ass politicians and shit.
Yes. I have it all saved in catalog. But like then the real problem is like, okay, so I proved it was malicious. I proved that, you are lying. and that was on purpose. You've got, you maliciously did this to Rich. So then the problem is like, okay, well, it's just one cop. It's one detective at 800. How much is that really worth in a defamation case, right? But then you got to realize Rich is probably the most famous active serving cop in the world.
Yeah.
Anybody think of another cop?
One of.
Like active?
A cop with multiple millions of subscribers that's recognized nationwide and globally, who built his entire online persona around accountability, doing the right thing. And then you come out and you say that...
Which is basically the fucking antithesis of the goddamn media. They don't tell the truth. They don't do the right thing. And some of those people are the slimiest motherfuckers you'll ever meet in your entire fucking life.
That he's such a piece of shit that he can't testify under oath because he lies all the time. Seems like that'd be worth a lot of money in court.
Yeah, and also that proves a financial harm to your brand.
I wish Rich would come
that
on
was
the
the other
podcast
part.
with Mike the
That
cop
was
too.
the other part is I would have to prove financial harm, which would be tricky to do unless I got like 20 to 30 people to comb through every Reddit and Facebook post that's been out since this case broke and took screenshots of hundreds of people parroting the same talking point that Rich is on the Brady list.
Oh.
Which came directly from them, from a credible news source. So
Can't you just use AI to do that? Maybe, I don't know.
now I can prove that it did harm his reputation.
Yeah. If there's any lawyers that would like to take up this case.
Channel 2, within like 48 hours of this video dropping, I would have a whole article apologizing to Richard Hire on how you guys were wrong. And when I say a whole article, I don't mean go back and change the articles. I mean, I would make a whole article titled WGRZ apologizes to SVU detective Richard Hire for fucking lying, or I'm going to turn over all this evidence and then go to the kitchen and grab some popcorn while I watch him sue the dog shit out of you.
Cheers.
Oh,
I love
like
you.
this so...
Get fucking shit on. Get fucking shit on. Your ass. Your ass. Your fucking ass. 1v1 me, pussy! I'm sorry. I got hyped.
I like to see bad people get what they deserve.
I do too.
You get what you deserve. Hire's allegations
Fuck
have
you.
outweighed his status on the Erie County District Attorney Office's database for law enforcement officers with credibility concerns, even though he's not on it and never fucking was.
Quote, Channel 2 WGRZ.
Suck a fat dick. How does it make you feel, Buffalo TV?
Channel 2 WGRZ.
Channel 2, how does this make you feel? Right here. How does this make you feel, Channel 2? Go fuck yourselves. What do y'all even do all day? And why do y'all get paid so much money if, like, y'all don't even, like, what do you do? If you're not gonna get the right information, if you're not even gonna bother to look, what the fuck do you do? Please don't tell me that the majority of your day is spent writing these articles, right? But let me guess. You don't ask people that would give you an answer that's correct or true. You ask a whole bunch of dumbass people as dumb as you that give you bullshit answers, and you run with those bullshit answers because you're afraid to ask someone that would give you real answers because it would destroy your predetermined notions and beliefs that you already have established in your head. And y'all are fucking trash, bro. Y'all are the epitome of fucking dog shit. I hope y'all get sued. I hope y'all lose a lot of money. I hope some of you get fired. I hope some of y'all get fired and your wife leaves you. Like, cause that's what you fucking deserve when you could have just done the right goddamn thing to motherfucking begin with.
I got hundreds of comments parroting their false talking point where they defamed him, and I have the screenshots of all those comments already. So, I mean, if they don't want to apologize publicly with its own article and put it up on your fucking YouTube channel and the news broadcast, then I'm just going to turn it over, and I can prove that you've written about him the third most out of 800 cops over the course of his career. Nothing's ever been charitable. You throw him under the bus every chance you can get. I can prove he's not on the Brady list, and then I can prove that I have hundreds of comments of people parroting your false talking points to discredit him as, you know, defamation and harm to your credibility for the most famous cop in the world. So that reputation's worth a lot of money.
And on behalf of all of us, Channel 2, go suck a fat dick. You're not using your mouths to say anything of value, so you might as well use it to do the only thing that you're pretty much good at doing. Sucking dick. What a goddamn disgrace. What a pathetic display of journalistic integrity. Holy shit. If I were your parents, I'd sell my TV so I would never have to see your fuck-ass face. Like, good God.
Bury that, fuckhead.
Nate Benson, sorry, you're a great journalist, but somebody else working at that news agency has it out to get him. I don't know if it's Ron Plants or the guy writing his scripts, but they're going to cost that place a lot of fucking money unless they start eating some crow.
So good.
The Buffalo School Board is just creating policies where it basically ties the hands behind the backs of the teachers that are trying to do the right thing. And I have multiple teachers, multiple interviews, I have hundreds of stories via written. But they all say the same thing. They've all attempted to do the right thing, and they've all been instructed by the school board that they're not allowed to do it. And I've asked repeatedly, and nobody knows that this is actually written down, but every single teacher has told me this without me asking. They've all told me the same thing. Buffalo school teachers are not allowed to call 911. They have to talk to an administrator, and the administrator makes that call.
That's a garbage ass rule. I don't know who made that, but the reason they made that is because if a teacher calls the police and they're not ready for it, they don't know how to lie about it. They don't know how to cover it up. They don't know how to ignore it if someone else outside of their control makes that call. So if we make it to where you have to come see me before calling the police, and I'm a crooked motherfucker, or I'm negligent, or I'm just garbage at my job, I can decide that the reason you want to call the police is not really that good of a reason. Go back to your fucking classroom, and we're going to continue the fucking day.
Jeez, Nick, does that ever come up in one of these stories where something happens and it could affect the health, welfare, and well-being of a child?
It sure does.
Wow.
Multiple times.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we can go into the THC gummy ones. So I've interviewed multiple people on that. I've interviewed the uncle of one of the boys that took the 500 milligram edible, and he is very disappointed with the school board.
500 milligram edible would put me on my fucking ass, I think. I don't really fuck with edibles too much. I think I'm only a fan of just like the grass, man. I have to be able to like smoke it, inhale it. Like, I've had edibles before, but that shit really didn't work all that well. But 500 milligrams feels like a fucking lot that would put down a grown person. That's borderline coma.
How do 500 milligram edibles just wind up on the hallway floor or at the locker room floor in a middle school? And then why would a teacher pick them up and give them to children? Whatever, stupid shit happens. Maybe that is happen. Maybe that did happen. That's not my overall issue with the thing. My issue is the school and their policies at the administrative level do not.
Well, have you ever seen edibles, man? Some of these edibles look like gummy worms. Gummy bears. Some of these edibles look like have y'all ever seen those? Have y'all ever seen like melatonin gummies? I've had edibles before that look like the melatonin gummies. I've had edibles that look like the fucking Flintstone vitamins that you give children, right? So like maybe there was some confusion there with the way that it looked. Not all edibles are always going to look like edibles. They could look like candy. They could look like something that you probably would have gotten at the store for your child, like some Welch's gummy bears or something. They'd be looking like that. So maybe there was some confusion there. Like, I don't know. Like, oh, here, little David, you dropped your gummy bears or gummy worms. I don't know, man. And gave him a fucking edible and didn't know it. I don't know why I'm trying to give you motherfuckers the benefit of the doubt, to be honest. That's crazy, but
allow things to get addressed as quickly as they should for the safety of children. The paramedics who I've talked to and I've interviewed.
Quick, what is the age of the children? This is
11
and
12.
Yeah. Okay, so you have 11 and 12. And 5 milligrams.
No.
5 will wreck somebody that's never done it, especially with
500. Eli, 500.
When you weigh 80 pounds to 90 pounds. Now 500 milligrams.
He got
like
it.
What would 50 do?
I know what 500 does to an 11-year-old because they were hospitalized with resting heart rates of 130.
You said
that shit, dude. 500 milligrams will put down a grown person. I don't know if y'all have ever fucked with edibles, but I guess the edibles that I've fucked with were just never that strong because they didn't really have that much of an effect on me, and I just really didn't like them. I was like, this is not that great. But yeah, on a human being that weighs like 70, 80 pounds, 11 years old, man.
Found it on the floor?
He allegedly found it on the floor, either in the hallway or in the locker room. And I have a picture of the THC gummies. They resembled Sour Patch Kids, but
See?
as you can see, Stony Patch covered.
Was that the rapper? Oh, okay, dude. That wow. If I looked at that at first glance, man, I would assume that was candy. Did you just find the gummy, or did you find the whole ass packaging? Because if the teacher found the whole ass packaging, maybe she just didn't read it. She just saw the colors, assumed it was candy. Here you go, Timmy. Whatever. I guess. I don't know. That really does look like Sour Patch Kids. Holy shit.
In weed.
They've got singular cyclops eyes.
It's singular cyclops eyes that in a colored version, they're very red, as if you'd been smoking weed. So, but granted, it does, if you're just taking a glance, maybe it does kind of look like Sour Patch Kids, and maybe it was all an accident. Whatever. That guy should still be fired, but that's separate. My issue is when the EMTs get called, the EMTs show up, and I've talked to the EMTs, and nobody will let them in. The doors are locked. Now, if a child is overdosing on an illegal drug, I would either A, have somebody sitting at the curb waiting for the EMTs to show up and then immediately take them to the children, or I would have the children outside waiting and hand them off.
Same.
Not what happened. Took the EMTs, I believe he said 8 to 10 minutes to find someone to let them into the building. And nobody would even come to the doors. It was actually the security guard from the parking lot that came in, and the security guard's like, hey, what's going on?
That's fucking stupid, bro. When I was in school, when I was in middle school, I don't really know how they did it for high school, man. I would just walk in. I just walked in the door and I just walked to my classes. That was it. But like in middle school, if you wanted to get into the school, first off, you had to go through the front, the main entrance. There was with all the other doors around the school locked, bro. They only open from the inside, and you had to go through the main entrance. And when you go to the main entrance, you have to ring a doorbell. There is literally a fucking doorbell. You hit the doorbell. The intercom says, state your name, who you are, what you're here for, what your child's name is, and then they'll look that shit up. And then I believe it's the secretary of the principal is always monitoring this little fucking doorbell at her desk, and she'll open it and let you in. You state your business, you go in, and it's pretty much almost immediate, right? If you're there to check out your kid, be like, oh, I'm here to check out my kid, his name is this, they'll let you in. And then you go in, show whatever identification you need, prove that you're here to pick up your kid. You got to be on like a list of people, a registered list of people to pick up the child, and that's it. It's very quick. How are we going backwards? How do I feel like we were safer when I was in middle school than these kids are now?
He had not been briefed on the issue. So it took them somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes from arriving on the scene to get to the children.
That's 15 to 20 minutes that a child is overdosing that is not getting medical attention. What if that kid flatlines, huh? And the medics, the paramedics could save him, but he's been flatlined for so long that he lost so much oxygen to his brain that he's either now dead, and if he's not dead and you resuscitate him, he's going to have brain damage because of just how long his brain went without oxygen. Like, are you kidding?
For overdosing on an illegal drug. And then once they got in there, the principal was apparently just didn't really give a shit. The school resource officer that was there comes up and is arguing with the EMTs like, well, do they really have to go to the hospital? They look fine. And the EMT is like, yes, they're going to the hospital. So that was an issue. And then a patrol.
Bro, this is just like, you know you're guilty of something. A motherfucker is guilty of something. There is a child overdosing. And even if he's not overdosing, you don't know. This is 500 milligrams of THC, and this is an edible. It can kick in 10 minutes. It can kick in an hour and a half from now. You don't know with these things and how they work. And you're just like, does he have to go to the hospital? Like that question, you asking that question, does he have to go to the hospital? He looks fine to me. That question, it only comes from A bad mom whose child called the police and the police show up and they see bruises all over the fucking child and they're like, we're taking your child. And you say, why are you taking my child? He looks fine to me. He just slipped and fell. Really? He slipped and fell and has 2 black eyes, a busted lip, and a bleeding nose? Really? No. Man, you're guilty of something. Otherwise, why would you even be worried? Rooms without being followed in the office. After a minute of standing there, a male walked up to me who was one of the principals asking what I was doing. I responded with, we were called here, which he responded to with, oh yeah. He pointed at the 2 males who were unattended on a bench. I asked a few questions to the principal where he responded with either, I don't know, or I can't speak on that at the moment. Mind you, I'm in uniform. I then asked the kids a few questions. SRO is still nowhere to be found. The kiddos stated they got them from the gym teacher who found them on the floor. I was then finally able to speak with the principal in charge, I guess. She brought me into her office and picked up a book on her desk, and underneath it was an edible package underneath it. I'll place an attachment of what the package looked like. Not exact, but damn near it. It was a package of 10 gummies, 500 milligrams each. Yes, 500 milligrams. The first child ate 6. Because as a child, gummy worms, you don't eat them bitches one at a time. Like at least gummy bears, gummy worms, all that stuff. When I was a kid, what do? Shove them all in your fucking mouth, right? Duh. Candy. Fuck it. And the other one ate 4. I can't imagine those gummies tasted good. 500 milligrams? Bro, I've had edibles before, and while yes, there is a degree of sweetness to it, my whole mouth reeked of marijuana. I could just taste weed, like for like an hour straight. After taking vitals on the children, which were not the best, the SRO showed up. Now, mind you, I'm all with law enforcement in Buffalo. They really help out on calls. Love them. This SRO looked me dead in the fucking eyes and said, do they have to go? They look fine. And they continued to try and talk to me and my partner out of taking them. It seems like this SRO, which is a security officer, right? I don't know what an SRO is. This SRO is covering something. Do we have to take these children? Please don't take these children. Please don't take these children to the hospital, because that's going to mess up what we got going on here. That's going to mess up our little operation. That's going to bring eyeballs that we don't want, and I'm trying to cover up for this person who's trying to cover up for this person who's also trying to cover up for this person, and if these kids go to the hospital, people are going to look close, and we don't want that to happen. And so I'm telling you, bro, when you ask something like that, it just screams guilty of something. It's not like your kid was walking through the house and tripped on a toy and fell and slammed their head on the ground. There's no blood. It's just a welt. It's just like a little red mark, and they're crying, right? And your wife is like, oh my God, sweetie, we got to go to the hospital. And you as the husband, you're just like, come on, babe. Seriously, it looks fine. He just fell. He hit his head. It's fine. It's just a little bruise. It's just a little welt. It'll go down. Go get some ice. It's fine. That's understandable. Your kid just fell and just like hit himself. He's probably crying more because he's in shock than anything else. Kids are going to fall. Kids fall all the time and don't go to the hospital, right? It's okay, but these kids ingested drugs, and that's your response. You're garbage, dog. First, I was confused on what was going on, but with all this cover-up stuff, it makes more sense, because the SRO just left talking to the principal that had the gummy package. Then, the SRO had a second officer arrive, and he was immediately disrespectful to the patrol officer. I don't need you. Why'd you even show up? Shaking his head the entire time. After transporting the 2 kids to the hospital, I personally spoke with the parents after they arrived, waiting 45 minutes for them. They were told by the school that the gym teacher found them on the floor and gave them to the kids thinking they were just candy. In the image, you can tell anyone with any fucking brain cells knows that's not Sour Patch candy bag. Was that an accurate picture of the candy bag that he showed? Because that bag at a faraway glance would look like Sour Patch Kids. But bro, you read this stuff, right? I checked every single piece of my niece's Halloween candy this Halloween, piece by piece. Piece by piece. And really, I gotta be honest, I'm guilty of not reading the names on the candy that I was checking. The only thing I was checking for was the integrity of the candy. the packaging. Was it ripped? Did it have any holes? Had it been opened? Had it been sealed shut? Anything that came, because like there's people that will like take the candy, they'll just put the candy in a plastic bag, right? With no, it's kind of weird to me. They take the candy out of the wrapper and put the candy and the chocolate or what in a Ziploc bag, zip it up, and then put it out there. If the candy was like that, I did not take it. I did not let my niece have it. If it did not come in the actual packaging that it came in when you purchased it from the store, I didn't let her have it. Okay? I've been guilty of not reading the names on some of the candy that I checked for her on Halloween. But I don't know, man. I honestly, I feel like I would have noticed something like that. But I can't really... I don't want to be like, I would have noticed it. I would have done this. I would have done that. You don't know until you're put in that position. So this guy's either negligent, didn't really care. It's kind of hard to say that he did it on purpose because I wasn't there. That's the only context I know, right? So the only thing that he could quite possibly be guilty of is negligence, right? You did not read what was on this packaging before you handed it back to those kids. But I mean, he's a gym coach, and that gym is oftentimes probably full of lost lunchboxes, fucking book bags, or just like candy wrappers and stuff like that. And found some candy. Oh shit, I found some candy. Here you go, kids. I mean, I could kind of somewhat understand that to a degree, bro, to an absolute degree. I want to give the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, bro, like you gotta be, you are the protector of children. When those children are in that school, you are the protectors. I understand that your title says teacher, but you are a protector of those kids when they are in your care. You are the first line of defense if someone wants to do harm to those children. You're it, bro. So if parents can't trust you to be it, then they're going to pull their kids out of your school, man. And that's even worse than any of this stuff. Because then other parents see this and they're like, oh, you pulled your kid out? Why? This? Oh, damn. Okay, pulling my kid out too. It's even worse. Parents were distraught that the school would lie to them about their child ingesting drugs in their school. I pushed them towards filing lawsuits, contacting lawyers, nagging the police for the reports, reaching out to the board, at least to see what more information they could get. I made sure to write a hell of a narrative for it in case a lawsuit comes out. I told them I would speak on their behalf if I got called into court. Bro, and mind you, these are the paramedics. These are the EMTs that are saying all of this stuff. The fact that 25 minutes elapsed from the time they got there to the time they were allowed to provide medical attention to these children, all of y'all should be fired just for that on its own. I have a couple of more situations from the schools with medical issues, like me waiting 9 minutes in my ambulance with a kid actively seizing after telling the school members, bro, do you have any idea? Oh my God. A kid actively seizing after telling the school members multiple times, I need a faculty member to ride with us to take guardianship of this child. And took 2 attempts to get anyone to come out. Bro, let me tell you something. As someone who was born with epilepsy, I grew up with epilepsy, and I've had epilepsy throughout my entire life, right? I have 1 to 2 seizures every 2 years, man. And I'm on medication for it. For me, it's not a matter of if I'm going to have a seizure, it's a matter of when I'm going to have a seizure. My life is essentially a game of Russian roulette. I just don't get to hold the gun, and I don't get to load the bullets, okay? So let me tell you something right now. As a kid that has seizures, and my parents raised me my entire life having this fucking condition, if you would have done that, if teachers would have done that to me, man, and just let me sit there for 9 whole minutes with no medical attention, bro, I'm telling you, my mother and my father, not just one or the other, both of them would have gone in that school and they would have beat the brakes off of every single person, bro. I'm telling you right now, that's not a joke, dude. It's not. They would have gone in that school. They would have gone to jail. They would have. I don't think they would have cared. They would have beat the brakes out of everyone in this fucking school, starting with the principal, because he seems like the most negligent fucking one.
So this is all going on, and I believe it was the principal or the assistant principal. It was an administrator that had the bag. They had to go into the administrator's office and be like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how much drugs these kids had under your supervision. Where's it at? and she had it sitting underneath her big like metal tumbler, and the EMT said like she
So you were hiding it.
was trying to hide it. And when he directly asked her for it, she like reluctantly gives it to him. And he investigates, sees that it's 500 milligrams in the bag. Okay, now he knows. He hands it back to her, takes the gift to the hospital. Comes back, and he's...
I wouldn't have handed her back that bag of drugs. There's no way. I would have held on to that and given that to the first responding officer. That's got to be taken into evidence. I would not leave that with them. The fact that she was just hiding it and you leave it with her.
You know, taking notes. He wants to see the bag again to either take the bag or take a picture of it. We don't know where the bag went.
Yep, there it is. That's why.
Oh.
So the evidence disappeared.
Wait a second. I feel like the destruction, intentional or unintentional, of evidence is like an ongoing theme with the City of Buffalo school system, whether it be video evidence or physical evidence like this bag.
Richard, isn't
One would say.
crime?
A school resource officer. That's what that is.
So, like, that's pretty bad, but like, it's an indicator of the overall problem, right? So they're just not working with first responders in the way that they should. And all the teachers have told me this. They're not allowed to call 911. They have to do everything through the administration. And I interviewed another teacher.
Okay, so dude, if stopping law enforcement from doing their job is called obstruction of justice, then what is it called when you stop a paramedic, an EMT, a nurse, anyone in the medical field from doing theirs? That should be against the law, and if it's not, make it one now.
Teacher who wanted to remain anonymous. So we're going to play that clip here in a second. But has a story, and I believe I've shown you guys a video, so we don't have to watch it. We'll just play it for the audience.
When I taught at another school in the city, the music teacher had a student that passed out cold. And this was probably like a 6th grader. She ran over to my room, the teacher, and she said, you know, so-and-so just passed out on the floor. I can't wake him up. Come help. I went over there. I'm like, we got to call the police. So we call the rule is you have to call an administrator before you call police. You have to. So we call the administrator, and the administrator says, you are not calling anybody.
You know, for example, let me give you guys a good example if you're still not grasping it yet. I'm gonna give you a scenario, right? If you work for a bank, you go in, you start your shift, you're working, you're telling people their money, you're a bank teller, right? You're doing all this stuff. And all of a sudden, 4 armed gunmen come in the bank, right? And you're just like, oh shit. God damn it. I prayed every single night this would never happen to me, but let me go ahead and hit this panic button. And right before you hit it, your boss of the whole bank grabs your hand and says, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't worry about it. Just stay still. Don't move. Don't worry about it. But if we hit the panic button, we'll get help, and like we'll get police, and they'll come in, they won't get away, and they won't take the money. And the manager says, nope, don't contact law enforcement. Yeah, but they haven't even done anything yet. They don't even know that we're having this conversation. Nope, don't contact law enforcement. In my mind, you know what that would make me think of the boss of the bank? That makes me think that he's in on the robbery, and there is something going on here in the form of like embezzlement, fraud, some kind of scheme where like the owner of the bank is letting them rob the bank, and he's going to get a portion of all this money and blah, blah, blah. And that's what I think of. You're not wanting to report this crime, sir. Why? Why? Because, I mean, all the other banks, they're very serious about protecting their money, and they'll call the police, they'll hit the silent alarm, they'll hit that panic button, they'll hit the whole fucking 9. Goddamn National Guard is there. But you don't want to do any of that. Why? And then to add insult to injury, the owner of the bank disabled the core components of the major security an hour before the fucking bank thieves came in, and it's just like, dog, you're lying, you're in trouble, you just broke the law, you're fucking, nah, man. Nah, it's just...
We're gonna call the mother and have her come over. And me and this teacher are like What are you talking about? Like, we can't wake the kid up. Like, we need an ambulance. What is the mom gonna do now? No. The principal came down to our room and stood there while this kid is passed out. Passed out. No ambulance, nothing. Do you think that's crazy? Mom finally shows up.
I think it's absolutely crazy as shit, because whenever I was in basic training, we had this kid collapse because of a seizure. First seizure he had ever had in his entire life. And we were in formation. The whole company was in formation. He passes out and starts having a very violent fucking seizure. I'm talking about, bro, it was ugly. It was ugly. And immediately, 4 drill sergeants rushed to this kid. Man, rushed to this kid. And we're trying to do everything they could. They rolled him on his side. And when it comes to having a seizure, bro, you kind of have to let them shake them out. But make sure you roll them on their side, because if you don't, they're at risk of swallowing their tongue. That's what can happen to an epileptic person. You roll them on their side. You straighten out all their limbs as much as you can. Make sure they're in a good recovery position. And that's what they did. And they immediately went for help. Immediately went for medical aid, and just call 911, calling the hospital, on base medics, on base hospital staff, and all that stuff. And as soon as that happened, we all got dismissed. They were like, you know what, fall out, go in the barracks, chill for a while, we'll come get y'all. And man, about like 4 or 5 of these drill sergeants were just with this kid. They never left his side until paramedics got there and the medics got there. And 3 out of those 5 drill sergeants went to the hospital with him. They didn't have to, but one of the medics was like, oh, Sergeant, you don't need to come. He's like, I'm coming. That's my troop. These drill sergeants that just met this kid 5 weeks ago are showing that level of care and that intensity to take care of someone. And these are children that you see on a daily basis, and you can't even be fucked. You can't even be bothered. You can't even like move with a sense of urgency or nothing. Bro, if it was my kid, I'd be going to jail. I'd be going to jail, and it would be absolutely 100% motherfucking worth it.
Gosh, I don't even remember how it ended. I know Mom was motherfucking everybody, you know, and shame on me. I was younger back then. But there's always this idea, like there's always this, you're always scared of like, you're going to get in literally, I don't know what ruling the administrators have, but there's something that they do that you are scared shitless.
Do you remember what ended up happening with the girl? Like, why she passed out? I mean, did she get to the hospital eventually?
She did get to the mom brought her to the hospital.
Okay, so we had kids pass out when I was in middle school or high school. Funny enough, she said music teacher, but we had one of our drummers in band passed out. He just fainted. And then a couple minutes later, he came to, and he was like, "Oh, I'm good." I think he was just like, he didn't eat, or just like, I don't know, man. He just like fainted, right? And he came to, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm fine." He's like, they were like, "We're gonna call your mom. We're gonna call the hospital. We're gonna call your mom. All this stuff." He's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah, I can stay. I passed out. I feel good now. I'm good to stay, right?" And they were like, "Nope, we are calling your mother. She is going to come get you. She is going to come see that you are okay," right? And then the hospital or an ambulance came, and then her mother arrived almost at the same time. His mother arrived almost at the same time that the ambulance did. And even though he was like, "I'm good, man. I fainted, blah, blah." And his mother came, and she was like, "Yeah, he from time to time, low blood sugar, I guess, and stuff like that. But he was cool." And his mom came, and she was like, "I really appreciate y'all calling me," and stuff like that. And she asked him, she's like, "Do you want to stay at school?" She's like, "We can go home. You can lay down, all this stuff." He's like, "Mom, I'm fine. I'm good." She's like, "I just passed out, whatever." And that was just for a simple fainting. These kids are overdosing on THC, and y'all do nothing.
And I remember she was back in the building the following week. So
I mean, she was out of school for days after this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they probably didn't double back to let you know what the medical issue was. But regardless, I mean, that girl could have been ODing on drugs, and it took what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get mom, drive there from work, drive her to the hospital rather than just calling the ambulance?
Yeah, it was probably a good, I would say it was about 20 minutes. I think it was about 20 minutes. It was awful. Awful. Like, we could not wake this student up.
So, I mean, it took this kid an hour to get to the hospital when she lost consciousness and was unresponsive. And she didn't end up making it back to school till the following week.
What I just don't understand is the incentive. Is it just like whether it's anti-cop sentiments or
like, I just don't understand. I don't understand what you're getting out of this. I don't. It's like I said in the last video. When someone robs a bank, you understand why they did it. They need money. When someone steals a car, you understand why they did it. They needed a ride, or they just want to sell it for money, right? But you kind of know why people commit crimes sometimes. Why are y'all doing that? What do you get out of this? What is the positive that you get out of this? What is the pro to this? I have no idea. I don't understand.
just trying to make the school seem better than it is, or like it's functioning better than it is? Why do they feel like they just have? What is their goal?
I truly believe, on my side, just the overview, stranger to it, haven't deep.
They don't want to lose federal funding. Well, I mean, dude, the route they're taking is going to cause just that. Look, I really do think that the public people will understand if shit happens. They will. Oh, there was a fight at the school and like 4 kids got sent to the hospital. Shit happens, man. Parents will understand. Because those parents, guess what? They used to be kids themselves. Sometimes you just walk into math class and bro, Timmy just pissed you off that day and you pop his ass, right? It happens. And most parents will be able to understand and empathize with the fact that sometimes things happen and sometimes these things happen and sometimes as a teacher you can't react in time. You can't stop every fight. You can't stop everything. You can't stop kids having sex in the bathroom all the time. You can't be there all the time. There's a whole bunch. There's more kids than students. Most people will understand that. But when you're lying, hiding information from the parents, refusing to tell information to the parents about their kids that they are 100% entitled to know, that's going to lead to the one thing that they're afraid about. If that's what they're afraid of doing, it's just like, dude, you know how easy it would have been. They found drugs on the floor, right? Like. We have no idea how the drugs got there. The gym teacher had lapse in fucking decision making. He didn't read the packaging correctly, gave it to the 2 kids. We swept the school. No more fucking drugs. Blah, blah, blah. We'll continue to monitor. We're going to beef up everything that we've been doing lately to make sure that this stays a drug-free zone and a weapon-free zone. And then you continue from there. Yeah, you get bad press. Yeah, people say mean things to you. But for the most part, most people will be like, well, at least you are working towards making it a safer place, making it a better environment. But you motherfuckers are actively, with every decision you take, making it a terrible environment. In order to try to avoid federal funding being removed, every decision you're taking is leading you to get federal funding removed. Because your school is rotten from the inside out. Everything about it. You just got to set that grass on fire, bro, and it'll look ugly for a couple of weeks, but it'll eventually grow back greener.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, and then that shithead lawyer that works for the school from Lipschitz Mathis or whatever the fuck that law firm is comes on the news and he's like actually the sheer volume of calls that they've contacted the police clearly shows that they're working great with law enforcement. I'm going to conveniently ignore the fact that 54% of the calls were listed as school other. So then we call them out and that doesn't work. So then they get fucking John J. Flynn, I believe his name is, former district attorney.
His middle name is Jizz.
And the news brings him on and he fucking is like, well, actually I was a district attorney and I promise you that, you know, the whole time I really
me, Donut Operator, and Brandon Herrera are the most immature ones in this conversation at the moment.
Former district attorney.
His middle name is Jizz.
And the news
and Angry Cops
brings him on and he fucking is like, well, actually I was a district attorney and I promise you that, you know, the whole time I realized that the dude was only getting charged with misdemeanors for assault and child endangerment, and then Rich came out and said that he was kidnapping, and then the DA, after having a bunch of backlash, magically was like, oh, we are going to charge this guy with felony kidnapping. But, you know, that had nothing to do with the podcast, and I would know because I'm a former DA. What the fucking news didn't tell you is Flynn also works for...
Using his position to basically be like, everything I say is true and just, and you shouldn't question it because I'm a DA. Take my word for it because I'm a DA. Are you a DA? You're not. Exactly. No. Absolutely not. That's not how you do anything.
Kidnapping, and then the DA, after having a bunch of backlash, magically was like, oh, we are going to charge this guy with felony kidnapping. But, you know, that had nothing to do with the podcast, and I would know because I'm a former DA. What the fucking news didn't tell you is Flynn also works for Lipschitz Mathis, or whatever the fuck that law firm is, that is directly working for the school board.
That begs the question, why the fuck is this DA even talking? Isn't that a conflict of interest? If you were like an independent, third party, neutral, whatever, then maybe, dog, your words would carry more weight, but nah, stop it.
The entire thing's bullshit and rigged.
So the only people that are talking out or speaking out in their favor are people who have a financial incentive to do so.
Correct. Financial and legal obligation to do so.
Just clarifying.
Isn't that neat? Isn't it cool how the news left that part out, that he's working for the same law firm that protects all the administrators?
You know,
it almost makes you feel like the news is also in league with these people, which probably not, but they probably share the same sentiment because most people that work for the news are fucking trash. They always talk about journalistic integrity and bringing you facts and bringing you truth and and then you just leave out one of the most important things that would effectively destroy what the fuck you're talking about.
Crazy the news would do that.
You know, it's funny because Flynn also said that he didn't have any incidents where the school was covering anything up during his tenure at DA at the DA's office as the DA. But you know what, Nick?
It took me all of about 15 minutes to find out that not only was that a fucking lie, you can actually still go on change.org or change.gov and sign a petition to this day demanding that he step down as DA because he refused to prosecute childhood sex crimes appropriately. Entire reason they wanted him to step down.
How many thousands of signatures does it have already?
It had 3,500 before I put it out to the internet. There's probably hundreds more because people went and also signed it just from mine. But it was 3,500 people legitimately from Buffalo that would have signed this thing demanding that he step down for not properly addressing childhood sex crimes.
Do you have any one, like a single instance of those? Just one of the stories.
So a lot of the story that it goes back to is in years prior when he was the DA, the Archdiocese, the Catholic Church operating in the area of Dubuque, had a priest or multiple priests that had been accused of childhood sex crimes, whatever, and he apparently did not do his due diligence in investigating and punishing those sex crimes. And I think the Archdiocese of Dubuque is like in a stage of bankruptcy right now because they've been sued so many times. But that being sued is a civil lawsuit,
right?
Not a criminal lawsuit. So that means that the parents, allegedly, if these kids were assaulted, were having to go into the legal system and file and sue the church individually, and there was no criminal prosecution. And that's why they wanted this guy to step down, is because he was not doing his due diligence and punishing childhood sex crimes. So for him to come out and be like, yeah, I would have never done this as DA, it's bullshit.
Yeah, bro, you're such a fucking hypocrite. You literally let a pedophile-ass priest walk.
You did it.
Mm-hmm. Also, one of the specific things that I brought up happened during his tenure. One of the stories where there was a assault at a school pool, and the school principal, this happened 2 years ago while he was DA, and the school principal failed to not declare it, report it. And then a year later, the child that was the victim of it disclosed it to somebody else. Then it became an investigation, but guess what happens after a year? All physical evidence is gone. The video is erased and like recorded over because it's been a year. They only save it for like, let's say even 180 days. That's gone.
Yeah.
And that school principal wrote the DA and said, hey, I'm not going to come in for the subpoena that your office sent me because I did my own investigation and I don't really care. Sent a letter stating why they're going to refuse to respond to the subpoena. Why?
I don't think it's ever a good idea to let to let someone who is quite possibly guilty of something investigate themselves. I've always thought that was stupid. I mean, you know how easy it is to just say like, "Oh, no wrongdoing." Literally that easy. You just have to say it. No wrongdoing. That's it. Investigated. You probably investigated for as long as it took you to say no wrongdoing. It's kind of like the equivalent of if you run a casino, you're doing nefarious things while running this casino, and the gaming commission says, "Hey, there's some odd things happening at your casino that we've received reports about. We're going to run an investigation on your casino." And you say, no need. I'll do my own investigation. Bro, no. You really think the gaming commission's going to let you just run your own investigation when there could be foul play on the inside or cheating? No. Never. Yet, it's not allowed to happen when it comes to money, but when it comes to children, yep, you can investigate yourself. Sure, go ahead. Tell me what you think of yourself. What is that? It's so stupid.
While he was the district attorney.
I have a question. I do history videos on the internet.
Yeah.
If I were to apply at Buffalo schools to be a history teacher with no degree in
they wouldn't hire you anyways, man.
education or history, do you think that I would get hired?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Why is that?
Well, because you don't have a teaching degree.
Oh, so I don't have the proper training to be a teacher, yet they don't have any training to be an investigative detective, yet they can host their own investigations, determine that no crimes were conducted, and then not inform law enforcement, even though they're a mandatory reporter. That's what.
Even though they got subpoenaed to do so.
Crime that was conducted, and when the law enforcement officer showed up to investigate it, all the administration and teachers had gone home for the day, so he couldn't do his job.
Yes, there's two new stories that have come out.
When was it? Okay, when was this?
Since our original.
This has been since. This is while they're now facing intense scrutiny. This is what they're still up to.
We are like B-Day plus 22 or something right now.
So I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I think one that's more telling, that is a better picture, because it's all on body cam. So I was made aware of an incident that happened at a Buffalo school that happened, and I don't know the call number yet, so you can't even ask me about it. All I have is information from individuals that were there. School, police, EMT, not going to say who. Just saying that information was given to me by a couple different sources. And the information is that a assault had occurred at the school, at some school. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I know that it happened because of the people that are telling me about it. Assault happened at a school in the city of Buffalo. Officers responded to that school. The officers asked the staff for information, and I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It was assault. It was just a normal assault. It was two students had beaten up a janitor or somebody that affected within the school. So the janitor was basically stomped pretty bad.
These high school age kids?
I believe so.
It's gotta be, because
the janitor is stomped pretty bad and beaten up by these kids, jumped. The officers go to the school. They talk to the principal and say, "Hey, this is serious. We need the video of it. And also we need to know these kids' names." And the school principal said, "No, not giving you anything. Not giving you the kids' names." And they're like, "Okay, but they're suspects in a crime. They jumped somebody at your school. They attacked basically one of your staff. We need to know who these people are. Even if we're not going to make an arrest and we go throughout the whole process, we get them counseling, something needs to start. We need their names." The principal refused, called up legal counsel, said legal counsel also told me to tell you to kick rocks. I'm not going to do that. This is all on body cam. And then the officers had the wherewithal to say, "Hey, here's the supporting deposition. I want you to sign the supporting deposition stating that you are refusing to give me the names of the suspects that assaulted your staff because they're individuals that go to your school." And she signed it.
Oh my God.
So so she wrote the deposition. I'm refusing per legal counsel, if I'm not mistaken. I'm refusing per legal counsel. At least I'm refusing to give you the names of the children in juveniles 17, 18.
If this goes to court, that principal is going to have. This is what's going to happen too. I feel, if this goes to court, prosecutor is going to be like, Is this your signature right here? I guarantee it.
Who gives a shit that assaulted one of my members of staff?
So they don't care about any staff, or it's just how their reputation is all they give a shit about. Because they're not protecting their own, and they're not protecting the kids.
They're not protecting anybody. So now these two kids can go, they've got carte blanche. Why not go assault another staff member? Why not go assault some kids? Teachers or the principal's not going to give any of my information away to the police. So there you go. Families that have their kids in schools, the principals are allowing juveniles that are assaulting grown adults to remain around your children with no recourse. If your kid's being bullied at a Buffalo public school and you're not getting the response that you think you require,
That's how school shootings happen too. Really.
To address that issue, this is your red flag. You might want to get involved.
And I believe there's actually a couple of class actions right now against the Buffalo public school
Yeah,
system.
there's now ads going around Facebook and ads getting mailed out by law firms that are basically asking people like, hey, this is apparently a prevalent issue. Get a hold of us if you want us to take a legal suit against Buffalo schools.
And this is, I guarantee, we've talked about it, but this has got to be way more. Buffalo's a great starting point, but y'all need to rally too and figure out if this is happening in your districts and start expanding and asking for this information.
Yep.
Because
So-
this is definitely nationwide.
I did even more digging on the Shane Cronin case, the alleged kidnapping at the magnet school with the museum.
Go on.
I have written testimonies from teachers that were there that day.
Oh, interesting.
Blurt out. They got a hold of me, and they told me that one, they were taken aback and disgusted when they watched our podcast because this individual
Because we belched or because we were drinking?
No, because they were there that day and had to hear that there was an alleged thing.
Caesar's M.
They found out from us that there was an attempted kidnapping that day.
What the
Not
fuck?
from the administration.
That's pathetic.
I have the Buffalo Schools handbook and how they handle emergency situations. The Buffalo School District has 3 states of emergency. They have shelter in place, lockout, and lockdown. Shelter in place is something for like inclement weather outside. Hey, there's a tornado or winds or a flood. It's not safe to leave the building. Stay inside. Lockout is, hey, there's an external threat to the school that we're worried may come in. We're going to lock the exterior doors to the school so nobody can get inside.
When I was in school, I feel like our schools were in perpetual lockout. No matter what. I feel like when I was in school, it was lockout, shelter in place, and then lockdown. Because, again, when I was in elementary school and middle school, not so much high school. High school, this is the way it worked. But in middle school, which is most of these kids, elementary school, every door was locked. All day, every day, period. No matter what. That was it. You had to ring a doorbell to get in. That's all it was.
Down is there's an interior threat to the school. All of the teachers need
Yeah, windows were always locked at my school all the time. You could unlock them if you wanted to, but they stayed shut and locked. That's it.
to take the kids in the classrooms, lock the doors to the classrooms, and then take a roll call so we can account for every child.
And then it says here, outside activities are ended. Yeah, no, for us, dude, I'm telling you, everything stayed locked. Matter of fact, when I was in high school, for gym, I used to have to go out for gym for baseball practice, and then I got some time after that initial baseball practice before actual baseball practice started after school. So I would leave the field and try to come back into the school. And what we would do, because the door that we would come in through was always locked, everything was always locked. The door that we would come in through that gave us access back to the locker room, we would just stick a big fucking rock right there by that door to where that door never shut. And at the end of the day, it was either up to a student or a teacher to move the rock and shut the door. That way the school wasn't unsecure during out of school hours. So maybe that could have been a safety issue when I was in school, but it wasn't. So most of the athletes, most of the people in the gym, they did that. They put that fucking rock there. That way athletes that would leave the school early and come back, they could get back in via the gym. They wouldn't have to walk all the way around the fucking school. And none of the teachers had a problem with it. The principal didn't have a problem with it. The fact that we were like leaving this door open for big chunks of the day for our in and out, it was pretty much understood. But when that door shut, that bitch was locked. You had to walk your ass all the way fucking around.
To the classrooms and then take a roll call so we can account for every child. Going
Some
back
would
to the
call that
testimony.
foreshadowing.
Quote, during the active intruder gaining entry into the school building through the museum doors, school staff were never instructed to go on lockdown, but only shelter in place.
Oh, well, this isn't a storm. Go on.
Certainly not a storm, especially for a grown man breaking into a school. That would be a lockdown situation where you locked the school doors.
Breaking into the school for the purpose of kidnapping 2 children.
Whether they knew that or not at the time, yes. Breaking in is an interior threat. They should have been on lockdown.
Yes.
Continuing the quote, I do know that the assistant principal was attacked by this man as he attempted to gain entry to the second floor hallway, which contains 3rd through 5th graders. After the police arrived, the intruder was apprehended in the museum. Nothing in regards to further safety precautions were taken or offered to the students or staff at School 59 that day. The children and staff were not released from the building, and the day continued as if nothing had happened. Parents were also not made aware of the incident until a letter went home with every student.
Don't you think... We already talked about this, but don't you think parents would want to know if something happened? Even if no child was abducted, even if no one was harmed, even if it just happened, whatever, right? Don't you think parents would want to know? Some parents would probably want to come get their kid from school that day. What happened? Yeah, I'm going to come get my kid.
The following day. So yeah, they didn't tell the parents the day that it happened. They instead sent home a mass letter with all of the elementary school kids. So who knows if the parents even got those letters. I wish I knew what the letter said, but obviously I don't live in Buffalo, so that would be really hard for me to, get a copy. Oh wait, no, I'd have to fucking copy the letter.
Oh, good.
The letter, dear parents and caregivers, as you know, safety and the well-being of our students is a top priority. On Tuesday, February 11th.
How he was said. They were. Wow. Man, that caught me off guard.
You know what's really funny about letters like this is you could just say whatever the fuck you want.
I guess so. Hey, do these ones have untruths in them? Keep going.
Oh, we're going to get there. On Tuesday, February 11th, we had an incident where a man entered our school through the museum without permission. In response, the school was placed in a brief shelter in place. So if you guys want to say that it's an untruth that you didn't go on lockdown, I have your letter from your fucking principal saying that you went into shelter in place, which is not the appropriate protocol.
Boo. Boo schools. Boo.
And we immediately notified the Buffalo Police.
If a story comes out in the future that someone in charge that allowed this to happen in the Buffalo public school system just so happens to be injured or maimed or killed for whatever reason, could be for natural causes, and I hear about it, I can't lie. It's going to make me very horny and I'll probably go masturbate. Let me find out that any one of you motherfuckers get what y'all deserve. Let me find out. I'm not advocating for violence, but if I just so happen to find out that something happened to you, it's going to make me horny and I'm going to go touch myself.
Who responded within minutes and arrested the man. The school is also using this as an opportunity to evaluate and reinforce its safety protocols to help ensure that something like this doesn't happen again. District officials and Buffalo Public School Security also met on Wednesday with the museum leadership to discuss the situation. Buffalo's Public Schools Crisis Prevention and Response Team and other support personnel have been and will continue to be available to students and teachers. As parents, you may want to talk with your child as well.
Yeah, fuck that. Principal Schumacher, you might as well resign, bro.
If your child exhibits any indications of emotional distress, we suggest that you listen to him or her. If they need to talk, answer their questions simply, honestly, and possibly over and over again. Please feel free to contact the school with any concerns or questions you may have. Thank you.
You're not going to give them any goddamn answers. Feel free to contact the school. You should have been the one to contact the parents.
Dr. Charles Drew, science magnet, Buffalo School, number 59. So yeah, attempted kidnapping, didn't tell any of the parents, didn't go into lockdown while there was a grown man attempting to kidnap children inside the school.
Fighting assistant principals. Breaking into more classrooms.
According to this testimony of the teacher that was there, he actually made it into a classroom and destroyed the classroom with the teacher inside. Wasn't sure if there was kids in there or not, but regardless, that teacher who was in a classroom that this man broke into, opened the door because nobody told her to lock the doors because she didn't go into lockdown, would have been an issue.
And that when they said that they called the police within minutes or something like that, that's all fucking lie too, right?
I don't know the exact response time, but the fact of the matter is everything that they can control, like, hey, go on to lockdown and lock your doors. There's a man in here trying to kidnap kids. They didn't do. And then they didn't tell the parents the gravity of the situation. They're like, oh yeah, there was an incident. We had to go into shelter in place. Didn't mention that he attempted to kidnap kids. Didn't mention to the parents that he assaulted a principal.
Bro, take your kids out of the school. Take your kids out of the school or homeschool your kids. Are you willing to wait on the next incident of them being lazy, negligent fucks and something actually happens? I don't think I'm willing to take that chance. And here I was thinking that the biggest thing plaguing our school system was teachers teaching our kids stupid shit, talking to third graders about sex and trans. I thought that was the biggest problem. No, there's actually bigger problems than that. This, bro, this. And for what? I don't know. For what purpose? I don't know. What's the benefit? No idea. To look good? That's so vapid and soulless of a goddamn. But I mean, that very well could be the case. They try to bury all the bad shit under the rug so that they don't look bad, so that they don't lose out on funding, and so that they can go to the yearly school board meeting and brag to other people at this fucking Christmas party or whatever that their school is the best school in the district. I got the best school in the district. What about your school? Not so much, huh? Yeah, they probably just be talking shit to each other. There's like a whole Game of Thrones thing going on here with these fucking schools, and the teachers and the kids are expense of all of this. I want to look good, so I'm not going to report shit I should report because it'll make me look bad instead. You're fucking garbage. The definition of the word, bro. It's fucking sad that something like, let's say you're in the school, right, and you're looking at the security feed, and you're the principal, and you're looking at the security feed, and you see someone break into the school trying to cause harm to kids. It's fucking sad that your first thought when you see that happen is, oh God, what will the media think? Instead of protecting the kids. That's what y'all think about. What will the media think? What will Twitter say? Will I keep my job after this? Oh, fuck all that shit. Go help the goddamn kids. Worry about that shit later, you trash can ass motherfucker. Holy ass.
Somebody's in doing this. Instead, a person breaks into a elementary school room and destroys the fucking room.
There's a grown-ass man in the school who should not be here.
Yes.
Who has gained access.
Yes, that would be considered an interior threat, which under their own criteria in their fucking manual that they got to write, they should have been on lockdown. And they didn't. Nate.
Damn.
Do you think anybody will be held accountable for that?
Well, no, not yet.
They got 24 hours to apologize to angry cops. But you know what you should do, Nick? Even if they do apologize to angry cops, you should just sue everybody anyways. I would.
It's become overwhelmingly apparent to me that the Buffalo District Attorney is not interested in actually getting people in trouble for this, and that the school board is desperately trying to protect themselves, and not all of them. There's multiple people on the school board. I've looked into every member. Half to the slight majority of the school board is actually great people that are involved.
I don't give a fuck you're allowing this to happen. I don't care if you're good people. I don't care if you have a good credit score. I could give a good goddamn if you go to church. You're seeing this stuff and you're letting it happen. I could give a fuck about your job. These are kids. When it comes to kids, fuck your job. Protect the kids, but you're not doing that. You're letting it happen. You're burying your head in the sand. Oh, let me remain low. Let me get out of the stay out of the fray, stay out of the line of sight, right? Like, I'm not gonna do it, I'm just gonna hide. You fucking coward. You should be fired too.
Wait a second. Or a sorority.
Or a sorority of shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, I tried to dig into this, but I can't. Obviously, I can't access the AKA sorority records.
Alpha, Kappa,
But
Alpha.
allegedly, I've heard from multiple teachers and employees of Buffalo School District that the superintendent and multiple people on the Buffalo School Board that all vote together and are the ones dragging this out and preventing it so that she can retire are all members of the same sorority. So they're just looking out for each other and not the kids, allegedly.
Is that the wine guzzler too? Is the wine guzzler one?
I believe so.
What do you know?
Oh my God.
What do you
Imagine
know?
that.
The superintendent and the wine guzzler working together. So the wine guzzler who flips off people that are worried about their school and says so on a Zoom meeting, well, she gets to keep her job.
And who is the DA that's completely disinterested in this, by the way?
Oh, what is his name? What the fuck is his name? That guy.
I just want the Buffalo School Board to know one thing. I just want y'all to be aware. The health insurance CEO that got murdered in cold blood a couple of months ago. Do y'all remember that, Buffalo School Board? Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember when that happened? When a man, point blank range, shot the CEO of a health insurance company. Insurance fucks over a lot of people each year. I know they help people, but they also fuck over a lot of people, right? That guy paid that price with his life. And that's just for health insurance. Now imagine you push a parent to the same level that that man was pushed, that murdered that CEO. What do you think happens there, huh? I just want y'all to remember this. I want y'all to think about this. When you lay in bed at night, I want you to chew on it. I want you to contemplate the implications of your behavior, because your behavior is affecting children. So that guy murdered a CEO for health insurance. What do you think a really pissed off father that has had it up to here will do to you? I can think of 1,000,001 things, and I can think of 1,000,001 worse fates than getting shot point blank range. That CEO died instantly. But I know y'all have seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen. What would you do for your kid? I'm just saying, I don't really think that y'all have really grasped the gravity of your situation.
Had a DUI in 1984 for, what was it? I believe he was driving under the influence down the wrong lane with no headlights. He then attempted to evade the police. After getting stopped, did a field sobriety test. And
I'm sorry, who are we talking about again?
what the fuck is his name? That guy that got a DUI in 1984? That guy that got a DUI in 1984
Mike Kane, district attorney.
for, what was it? I believe he was driving under the influence down the wrong lane with no headlights. He then attempted to evade the police. After getting stopped, did a field sobriety test. And then...
Wait. Defendant was observed driving without lights on the wrong side of the road and attempted to evade officers.
Down the wrong lane with no headlights. He then attempted to evade the police. After getting stopped, did a field sobriety test.
You run from the police and then you're still allotted the opportunity to do a field sobriety test? Ever. You don't just like commit a felony and then go back a law. Like, maybe he was already a prolific figure in the 80s and the cops were like, oh, you're that guy, I know you. And like, yeah, we'll give you a break or something. Like, bro, driving drunk and then running from cops. Again, guys, this happened in the 80s. DUI was treated differently in the 80s than it is in 2025. And hell, DUI was treated differently in the 80s than it was whenever I was driving. Bro, you got fucked. You still get fucked now, but you got fucked hard when I was driving. Like when I first got my driver's license when I was 18, in the 80s, I can imagine that
The field sobriety test, attempt to escape police custody, injuring a police officer in the process. He then, he comes from a very, from what I was able to read, he comes from a very like affluent, well-connected family in the area.
Yeah.
And he was directly asked by the news when this came out during his election if his father's status had anything to do with the fact that these felony charges for evading cops, injuring a cop, if his dad had anything to do with the fact that those cases were then pleaded down to misdemeanors. I believe he had like 90 days of probation or something and like a $250 fine. And then the courts actually sealed the records so they couldn't be pulled up against him again. But they accidentally got released during a FOIA request.
Oh.
So they got leaked out anyways.
No, I know
guy?
that you've never said it. You've never said it, but I've heard people who have, that maybe his daddy's connections were the reason why that didn't turn out worse.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that would kind of make sense.
Well, but
Dude, it's either daddy's connections or white cops gave white dude a pass. I don't know, man. Or maybe the cops knew his family. They were wealthy, affluent, whatever the fuck, blah, blah, blah.
that happened in the past. You shouldn't judge somebody off their past.
Wait a second. I get judged off my past all the time.
Wait.
I'm controversial. Guys, you forgot. I made funny videos on the internet. I called a kid fat one time.
Look, I can't judge. I can't judge that dude. I am guilty of drunk driving. I am. I can't sit here like I'm high and mighty. I can't sit here above this man. And I damn sure can't judge him. At least for that. I can't judge him for that action. Can I judge him now? For other things? Absolutely. But for that, I cannot because I have engaged in that behavior once before in my life, you know? But I can't judge, you know, I've engaged in that same activity. Can people change? Yeah, sure. But this guy's guilty of other shit than just that. The DUI kind of just the DUI is basically is being used as a tool to paint a certain picture of his character, right? And it just so happens that he's just an awful person today, not because he drinks and drives, but just because he actively ignores shit that happens to children, right? So that whole DUI is relevant to show people the kind of person that they're dealing with.
But kind of was on the Brady list per Channel 2. I'm the guy you shouldn't listen to, and I understand now why the news shit on me all these years for being a bad person. I've learned my lesson. I think I've grown.
Is there a single person in that binder who doesn't have a, I don't know what you would call it, maybe a rocky history?
Not really, no. But I think I've come up with a solution. So I don't have faith that the DA is going to do his job. The Buffalo School Board is going to try to drag this out as long as humanly possible to hoping to God everybody forgets. So my answer to this is I've looked into it. It takes about somewhere between 85 and 110,000 votes to swing a federal election in the state of New York. So if you were a federal law enforcement agency like the FBI and you got 100,000 fucking complaints about the Buffalo School Boards emailed to you, do you think maybe the federal government would get involved at that point?
Boy, I couldn't ignore that if I wanted to, if I was a member of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And if you can't get that many votes, bro, you have my full endorsement to just fucking fake it. Fucking fake the goddamn votes. Fake the fucking emails. These motherfuckers aren't playing by the rules. They're not playing fair, and they're playing dirty, and they're playing negligent. Might as well, but two wrongs don't make a right. But bro, at this point, let's just break one or two rules just to get rid of some shitty motherfuckers, right? It's not a slippery slope. We'll put the genie back in the bottle.
Or Attorney General's office. It would be impossible for me to ignore that. In fact, I think I would have to look at it. Considering the volume of complaints, I would have to take that as some sort of serious event that needs an investigation.
You would be a fool not to.
It would be foolish not to, yes.
And you want to be transparent too.
Even if you wanted to cover it up because the government doesn't like holding itself accountable, do you think that the federal level government would spin around and hold a school board and local government accountable, knowing that if they didn't, it would sway an entire federal election?
I think that could be possible. You know, the governor of New York State, Kathy Hochul, actually had a response to the investigation that's going on. Well, lack of investigation.
Yo, I kind of see the picture they're painting here, and
investigation that's going on in the city of Buffalo. And I'm going to have to pull it up real quickly because I don't want to be misquoted for my governor. I would hate to put words in her mouth.
But this little podcast where people burp and are foul and drink alcohol
is definitely not legitimate at all in the slightest, and you shouldn't listen to them for anything. Yeah, said every garbage ass media outlet that knows that they're just like one really, really popular podcast away from becoming fucking relevant. Kind of like when a whole bunch of media outlets were freaking out at the insane popularity of the Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah, it's because you motherfuckers can't control the narrative anymore, man, and it really angers you, and it really pisses you off, because if you can't control the narrative, well then you stop looking legitimate, and if you stop looking legitimate, you stop making money, and well, there goes you, there goes your agenda, there goes your whole existence.
Has brought these allegations to the point where the governor is making a fucking response.
Well, I apologize. It's not the governor. It's the governor's press office. So she's obviously very busy and couldn't comment on the second largest school district in the entire state. Her hometown, actually.
Really?
You know, these things happening, which she's busy. I can understand. So she would have to have her press office make the statement of, it is our understanding that there are active investigations by law enforcement regarding certain allegations, as well as the internal review by the school district, which hasn't happened yet.
Which is a lie, because they haven't even announced who's going to start the investigation. So that's not true.
And we await the results of those reviews. So if I'm understanding this correctly, it would be that Governor Kathy Hochul's office, maybe her, because I don't know if they got this to her yet. Hopefully somebody can get it to her, are aware that the ongoing abduction case is still, well, ongoing. But yet they are willing to wait for the Buffalo school systems to complete their own internal investigation, which, Nick, that one investigation from 3 years ago, is that out yet to the public?
The shooting at McKinley High School?
Yeah.
No, that hasn't been released.
Noted.
Neither.
This is the first time I've heard of this.
School shooting? I believe the other investigation regarding the stabbing at Riverside High School, that investigation's results have also never been released.
Okay, so those investigations, although they are ongoing, even though they haven't actually started the investigation currently for that school, even though those ones are done and we've never gotten the results for it, the governor's office is going to wait on the investigation from the Buffalo School District, who's never shared anything about their investigations before, to complete before anything happens. So,
what a hilarious non-statement. We are aware that some things are being looked to, and we wish them luck.
Yep.
And wait,
so my
school shooting. What?
It was outside the school. It was like a gang thing. Like a kid ran up on the school and shot a security guard while trying to shoot another child during dismissal. So there was a lot of kids out there.
What the fuck?
Our department flooded the area because we thought it was going to be like a planned school shooter. It was more gang violence, but nonetheless still a shooting at the school. The security guard was wounded, and I think somebody else, I think a student, don't quote me on that, but that's what happened.
And they just said that
they said they did their own investigation, and that investigation is not shared. That's what we talked about earlier.
It's not released to the public
because it's attorney-client privilege.
Yeah. So they have a pretty good history of not sharing results of the investigation, which would concern everybody. So I think my solution now would be to put up the email.
Death by hanging, right? No? Just emails? Okay.
Of the FBI. And we'll put it in the description as well. And you can email the FBI.
I think it would also be like right here on the screen.
And let them know, hey, you should probably be looking at Buffalo Public Schools. And then if, I don't know, this video gets 1 million views and we can rely on 10% of you to...
I hope the FBI gets involved. Oh my God. Oh my God, if the FBI gets involved. Well, it's over for you. Because you can... For some time now, they've been getting away with telling police, lawyers, prosecutors, and people within the DA's office to kick fucking rocks when it comes to a subpoena. Good luck telling the FBI to kick rocks on a subpoena. I would love to see you try. Oh, it would be beautiful, wouldn't it? It would be fucking beautiful.
take 30 seconds out of your day to shoot an email, and then the FBI gets 100,000 emails, which is enough to sway a federal election, we get to do this cool thing where we pit the government against itself and watch it eat itself alive. Oh, and what's even funnier is Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, came out 10 days ago and took a hardline stance on protecting kids in school. So this is almost like me walking up and putting a home run ball on the tee for them to make an example out of somebody.
That was 10 days ago? Interesting.
Weird.
What happened there? Anyway, I'm going to make this simple for all of you that are listening. I don't care if you think that the other 10% are going to do it for you. You, on your phone, right now, you should
All right. I'll do it after this.
send an email to somebody saying to look at the Buffalo Public School program and that it's an issue.
Don't swear.
Whoever has AI or access to a good AI engine, just send a mass amount, man, of emails and tips, and obviously put some variety in there so it's not like a copy and paste thing. They'll just look past those, right? But just great.
Don't like just spam memes.
Please
like,
don't get on there and be like, this is Epstein's Island 2.0. There's a crazy ring. There's not.
Yeah, dude, don't make it sound like your regular fucking crazy ass MAGA person. Okay, just like be cool about it. Be professional.
We're not saying that. The school administration has harbored a culture of not valuing children's safety as the highest priority. And because of that, we think that children are continually getting put in danger they don't need to get put in.
Nick, do you think that we could have, like, I don't know, a template email that we could put up in the description?
Like if I wrote a letter that people could just,
copy and paste
and put it right into the email and send it 100,000 times.
And the only thing you would really have to do is leave the name empty and the signature empty, and the person can do that themselves.
Yeah, we could do that.
Be a shame if that was in the description.
We're going to put that in the description, and maybe the website to do so is going to be right here. Maybe it's right fucking here.
Can we do anything with the was it the change one where we do
Change.org?
That's a petition.
A petition.
Would that help at all? Also, if
I
we
think
stack
fucking here.
Can we do anything with the was it the change one where we do
Change.org?
That's a petition.
A petition.
Would that help at all? Also, if
I
we
think-
stack with it, or just the emails is the main thing right now?
I think the petition, I don't want to say no. I want to leave all options open. But at this moment, with my governor's office being aware of it and then choosing to sit back, I think that it has to be the FBI or the AG's office that is bombarded with people caring so that it is unignorable.
Yeah.
I would also really like the New York governor's office and like senators like Chuck Schumer and Gillibrand to also be bombarded with the same email.
So could we CC? What we'll do in the description then is put those emails in for you to CC,
Copy,
add.
paste right into send to. You know what'd be really funny is if at one of the school board meetings we just had Unsub Live in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
I wanted to go to the first one so bad. Maybe I just get somebody with a camera and I go to one of the next ones.
What are they going to do? Call the cops?
Well, if they do, they might just...
That's the catch-20. Dude, if they... I think we can end it here. I don't think there's anything else. I think they're just gonna bullshit the rest of the time. But oh my God, dude, if they went to jail, the footage of them going to jail, I would make it into my intro. I'm not even kidding. If they went to jail, especially the drunk lady. If she ends up going to jail, bro, the footage of her getting escorted in handcuffs, I swear to God, I'd make that my intro for my videos.